Well, we have officially reached the end of the year, and by far the most common question I get asked here on my channel is about goal setting and how to break down your goals into manageable projects. So today I'm going to be talking all about how to set and achieve your goals for 2018. So if that is something that you're interested in, this video is going to be for you. Hello my charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for another video. And if this is your first time with me, I would like to say welcome. My name is Alexis, but I'm also known as Miss Trenchcoat all across the internet. I'm an online entrepreneur who designs and sells digital productivity tools to help you work smarter, not harder. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll leave some links down below in the description box where you can check out more of my work online. And feel free to download some of my latest free productivity tools over at thecharmedshop.com. So like I said in the introduction, today we're going to be talking about goal setting for the new year. And specifically, I want to share with you the 7 most common reasons why you are not achieving your goals and what you can do about that. So I think this is going to be a video that's going to be chock full of information. And because of what we're talking about, I've structured this video a little bit different than videos past. So you are going to see my face, of course, as we do this video, but I'm also going to be recording for you my screen because as I go through this information, there's so much information to talk about and so many different things that I didn't want to forget about that I actually just turned it into a PowerPoint. So this is almost going to be like a lecture sort of thing where you're going to see me and my screen and you're going to be able to follow along with what we're talking about in the topic of today's video. Of course, I also made a study guide, really a free workbook to help you guys set your goals for the new year and follow along with this video and content today because I realize there's a lot of information and I know it can get hard writing down everything and your hand starts to cramp and all that good stuff. So I thought I'd make it easier for you guys, create sort of like a workbook cheat sheet study guide for you. So I'll leave a link down below where you can download that and get that for free, of course, along with this video to help you make the most of your goal setting for the new year. Now, this whole video really is actually my way of saying thank you for helping me reach a very big milestone in my YouTube channel and my YouTube career. If you were not aware, I recently hit 75,000 subscribers here on the channel, and I love to give you guys, freebies every now and then anyway, and I know I have my monthly freebies and all that good stuff that you can find over on the Charmed Shop, but for a special milestone like this, and because we're at the end of the year, I thought I would put together this really info-packed lecture and give you that study guide workbook to help you really get the most from this information as my way of saying thank you. It's a free gift to you. Of course, you do not need to pay a thing for it. It's literally just my Christmas gift. Well, not really my Christmas gift because I'm going to have other things probably for you guys around Christmas, so stay tuned. But thank you guys so much for all of your support and watching my videos and giving me feedback and supporting my business and the Charm Shop and everything like that. It's been a wonderful year, 2017, definitely a little bit of a crazy one for me personally, but a good one nonetheless. And I'm so thankful to each and every one of you here in my community who have participated and made my work and business shine that much brighter for having you as part of my community. So thank you so much. And of course, if you're watching this video and you're new to me, hit that subscribe button. You can join the gang of over 75,000 of us here in this community of like-minded, productivity-focused people who just are trying to live our day-to-day to the maximum by working smarter, not harder, so we can do less of the things we don't want to do and more of the things that we do. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the content of today's video. So like I said earlier, this video is going to cover the 7 most common reasons why you are not achieving your goals. And of course, I'm going to give you some really practical solutions to help you overcome these very common issues that most people run into when setting their goals and trying to execute or achieve them. So the first reason that people have trouble achieving their goals is because they're not actually setting actionable goals. So when it comes to setting actionable goals, many people set goals that are vague or non-specific. So when it comes time to actually execute on said goal, they don't really know how to. So this is where the concept of SMART goals come in. Now, SMART is an acronym, S-M-A-R-T, that stands for a list of things, elements that your goal should have in order to be actionable and attainable to you. So S stands for specific, which means that your goal needs to have an end in mind so that you know when the goal is actually reached, right? If it's not specific, you don't really know if you have achieved it or not. So you want to make sure your goal is specific. You want to make sure that it is measurable, which means it has a measure in it, some way for you to measure your progress, your success, so that once you've hit the goal, you know that you have, right? So not only is it specific, so you are being specific about the measure, but you want to be able to measure it out as well, so you can track it and make sure you've reached success. Your goal also needs to be attainable. So that means that the goal must be something that you are able to accomplish, right? So there are some things in life that I think some people can and cannot do. Maybe some people can do it, others can't. Of course, there's a whole realm of like possibility and realism that we have to deal with as well. Like we can't, wish for a unicorn for Christmas, unfortunately. So we want to make sure that our goal is actually something that we are realistically able to attain. Speaking of realism, R is realistic, right? So your goal needs to have expectations that are in line with what is possible in reality. So this is a little bit different from attainable. Attainable really means to me that it has something to do with you personally being able to attain the goal. And then the R for realistic means that the goal needs to be something that is based in reality. It's something that really is possible for someone to do and specifically attainable to you personally. A really good example of this would be a man could not say that he wanted to have a baby, right? I hope that's not like a controversial sort of statement to make, but in reality, people who are born male are not able to have children. They can father children, but they're not able to actually give birth. So that's something where the goal is realistic to be able to have a child, right? That's realistic for most people, but it's not something that a male themselves would be able to attain. So that's just kind of like a silly example that kind of shows the difference between attainable and realistic, but I hope that helps you guys kind of clarify the two in your mind, because I know it's something that a lot of people ask me about. And of course, finally, that T means that the goal needs to be time bound, which means you need to have a time frame for when you're going to be accomplishing this goal. It's wonderful to set goals that are lofty and kind of are open-ended, right? That's like, sometime in the future, I want to do this. Well, the problem is that a lot of times we are very bad as human beings at actually working towards things that don't have a definite timetable to them. So when we put a timetable on our goals, we're more likely to achieve them. Now, how to apply this concept of SMART goals to whatever goals that you may be setting for the new year. So here's a little bit of an example for you. Your goal before perhaps was to get healthy in the new year. So that's a great goal, but it's also very vague. So getting healthy, and the reason for this is because getting healthy could mean many different things. And until you get smart with your goal, it's hard to execute against that. So a little bit of a before and after, maybe to make your goal smart, you could say instead that your goal is to lose 25 pounds before June by sticking to a low-carb diet plan and increasing my activity level. So now it's specific. We've got that 25 pounds by June by doing low-carb. Measurable, well, we can measure that 25 pounds and we can measure the days that we've got left to lose the weight. It is actionable or attainable for us. It's something that we're actually able to fulfill for ourselves. And here I've actually, in my slideshow, I just noticed that I put actionable here and it's attainable on the other side. I actually use those two interchangeably. So if you guys ever see me do that, I know sometimes I use terms interchangeably. Actionable and attainable to me are the same thing. It's something that you are able to act on. And of course, it's realistic, depending on how much weight someone has to lose. 25 pounds in what we'll assume here is about a 6-month period of time is probably realistic to achieve for many people. And of course, it's time bound. We have that time period of, before June there. So we're specific on our time enough for this goal to be considered SMART. Okay, so getting started with goal setting. I've got a few tips for you in order to get started if you're someone who is struggling with this first fundamental part of achieving your goals, actually setting them, right? So step number one is to take the time to identify what you really want to accomplish and make those goals SMART according to that SMART acronym so that you're actually creating actionable goals for yourself. Step number two is to brainstorm applicable projects that would help you reach your goal, and then choose the one that makes the most sense for you to start with. You know, there's a lot of different advice I could give you on how to choose the best project, whether you're going to choose something that seems the easiest to achieve, or maybe an idea that seems the most complete. But I would just say, look through those ideas of projects that you could use to fulfill your goal. For example, that goal I gave you before, the 25 pounds, for getting healthy, perhaps someone, was measuring their getting healthy differently than in weight, right? So there are so many different ways that you can approach something. So brainstorm all the different ways you may want to approach completing your goal, and choose the one that really feels like it's the right fit for you. And it's going to be really good to have that list of those projects brainstormed, because if for some reason you try with one project and for one reason or another it doesn't work out for you, you've got a list of other projects that you can go back to and try plan B or plan C to really make sure that you are following up on achieving that goal of yours. And then step number three is I want you to create a tracking and reward system for making progress on your goal, so you can see how your actions or your inaction yields your results. I think so often when it comes to productivity and planning and goal setting and project planning, so many people think that they're not making progress, even though they feel like they're working towards something, but they don't see the progress. And I think that when you have a tracking system in place, something where you're writing down the actions that you're taking or how far you've come, or maybe for the example of getting healthy, if your goal is to lose a certain amount of weight, somewhere where you're actually writing down your weight each week so that you're staying accountable to it and seeing the progress that you're making, that can be very helpful to many people. And obviously having a reward in place is a really good motivator for most people. So I always think that when you're getting started with your goal and really, looking to achieve something, putting in a tracking system and naming your reward, something that you're going to get for actually achieving it, other than the goal itself, because let's be honest, the goal itself is the achievement, but sometimes we need a little extra to help us stay motivated. So if you institute sort of a reward system for yourself, that could help as well. So that is my third and final piece of advice for getting started with your goal setting. Now, reason number two why people very frequently do not achieve their goals is that they have no plan. Okay, so making realistic plans. It is very common for around the New Year's time for people to set goals or make resolutions, but even if those goals are SMART, they tend to fail at taking the next step, which is actually planning out how they're going to get to that goal, right? So once you have selected a project idea to help you reach your goal, it's critical to break down that goal into a project plan so you have a list of action steps to take to get you started on your goal. So you've got your goal, you've made it SMART, you've chosen a project from a brainstormed list of projects that could possibly help you reach the goal, and now you've got to actually break down that project plan into manageable pieces. Now, I'm not going to go in depth in project planning in this video because I do have a few videos, and I'm going to leave those linked down below in the description box if you're interested in checking those out. Now, it's also useful to have some type of planner, either a physical planner or a digital planner, to help you manage your time, tasks, and those projects in one place. So I always recommend that people have some sort of planning system, no matter what that planning system is. And I have a feeling if you've found me here on this channel, you most likely already like planners or are interested in them. So you may already have a option set up for yourself, but I will be sharing my New Year planner setup very soon with you guys if you're interested. Now, how to apply this idea of planning and specifically project planning. As you can see here on the screen, I've just got a picture of my project planning sheets that I keep in my planner. So I have a simple like 6-step system for working out your project plans, the things that are really important for you to have when you're breaking down that goal into a project and then making that project actionable and organized. So step number 1 is to define your SMART goal. You can see here on the example, I put down the goal to lose 25 pounds by June. Step 2 is just describe what you are trying to achieve. So in the description here, I've written institute a low-carb diet along with an exercise plan 3 days a week. So again, we're being very specific with what we're trying to achieve and how we're going to get there. Step number 3 is to set a due date for your project. Again, that T in SMART goals has to do with a time-bound goal. And here I've written down a due date of June 1st, 2018 to go along with our earlier example goal. Next, step 4 is you want to create a list of action steps to take to get you to your goal. So you can see here that I've created like a rough list of things that someone might do in order to help them put together a project plan to lose weight. Like research the low-carb diet, compile a list of recipes, schedule a time for a weekly meal planning session, purchase a workout machine. I wrote like an elliptical here. Schedule 3 days a week to do your workout, weigh in weekly, track your weight in your planner, all that good stuff. So this is just an example, but definitely you want to make sure on your project plans that you have that list of action steps to take. And even if it's not a complete list at the start, write down as many things as you think that you need to get you started, and you can always add to it later. Trust me, things are always popping up left and right. So step number 5 is to keep track of resources that you may need for reference as well. So here on my project planning sheet, you can see I've got a little section that says resources. And for this goal, your resources might be a low-carb book, a website with maybe workout playlists, maybe the information to contact a nutritionist if that's something that you want to do to help you lose weight. Anything that you might find to be a resource for you as you're working towards your goal, keep those in one place with your project plans. And then of course, step number 6 is to write down any additional notes that apply to your plans or information that you may need to know as you execute on your plan. So here on the notes section, I just wrote down, here a list of your favorite meals. So perhaps in order to keep yourself motivated and to kind of keep that information straight, you might just want to keep a list of your favorite low-carb breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, etc. So that might help you with that whole weekly meal planning element that you might be using in such an example, right? So this is just an example of how you will apply project planning and what it might look like if you're using a physical planner. Of course, these project planning sheets are available in my shop. I'll leave the link down below. You can get them in A5/half letter or personal Filofax equivalents. And they come as either my project planning bundle or they come as part of my functional planning bundle along with my Charmed Life planner. So I'll leave all those links down below in case you are interested. Now, 3 steps to finding planning success. Here's my 3 tips to help you get started if planning is an issue that you have to overcome. Number 1 is to get a functional planner. My system, like I said before, is linked down below, and it's what I call a functional planner, meaning that it's prioritizing your schedule, your tasks, and your projects, right? It's a place where you can organize your time management, keep a list of things to do, and stay accountable for what you have due and when it's due, things like that. So definitely get yourself a planner system. I have a whole series on functional planning. I'll leave that link down below as well, in case you're interested in going a little deeper on what I mean with that. But step number 1 is to get that planner system that works for you. Step number 2 is to break down your projects into project plans. So following that rough outline that I gave you, those 6 steps for what you'd want on your project planning sheets, definitely break down your chosen projects into project plans so that they are now planned out. So you actually have a plan of action for how you are going to execute on your goal. And step number 3 is to establish regular planning routines to help you keep on top of your projects, tasks, and your schedule. Of course, if we're not establishing regular routines and not, using our planner regularly and coming back to the project plans, it really is useless to have done all that work. So you want to make sure that after you've organized all that information and made that plan, that you're actually coming back to it, checking it regularly to make sure that you're executing and on track. Now, reason number 3 why people fail to achieve their goals is that they fail to actually act. Okay, so if getting things done is an issue for you, you got to remember that once you have your plans broken out for how you will achieve your goals, Now we get to the part that many people struggle with, which is executing, right? This isn't an uncommon thing. It's definitely a challenge to manage your daily workload, whatever it is, being a student, being a mom, having a full-time career, 9 to 5, or all of the above, right? It's definitely a challenge to manage your normal workload and responsibilities with the extra tasks that you have assigned yourself to reach goals, right? Because essentially, these are, tasks, and this is work that we're achieving for ourselves so that we can achieve our goals. So it's outside of our normal day-to-day work. So of course it's going to be a challenge to fit that in. Luckily, there are many different time-saving productivity techniques that you can use to work smarter, not harder, right? So the goal here is not to give yourself so much work that you're overwhelmed and having to work hard every day, day in, day out, no sleep. But we really want to make sure that we are being productive. And for me, being productive means working smarter, not harder, right? So being effective and efficient, not necessarily throwing more effort at our work and our tasks. So when it comes to working smarter, not harder, here are a few productivity techniques that I love to use. Number one, I really love to batch my work. So if you are someone who's interested in this concept of batching your work, what you're going to want to do is organize your workday so that you are completing like items together instead of completing tasks as they come in. And this just helps with efficiency, right? It makes sense that if you are, for example, running all of your reports at your job at the same time, it's going to end up saving you time because you're not switching from task to task. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again in one batch, and it makes you more efficient. So you're going to end up saving time. And, you could also do this when you are responding to emails, right? So instead of responding to emails one at a time when they come in, if you set a dedicated time to sit in your email inbox and just respond to a bunch of emails, that's going to be more efficient because your mind isn't going to be switching from emails to phone calls to filing to reporting, right? You're not going back and forth because every time we switch our attention, we lose a little bit of mental energy and there's a little bit of lag time. So if you're staying focused by batching your work, you're going to be able to work smarter, not harder, by getting more done in a more effective amount of time. Another technique I absolutely love for people who come to me and say that they're always being interrupted or they feel like they have a short attention span, right, is the Pomodoro technique. So this is when you complete as much work as you can in a 25-minute increment, and then you take a 5-minute break. And then after 4 rounds of this, so 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes off, 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 which is basically, 2 hours, right? Because 4 rounds of this would be 2 hours. Then you'll take a longer 15-minute break. So of course, it'll help if you use a timer to make sure that you're measuring time out so that you're spending 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. But like I said, this technique is great for people who are frequently interrupted or feel like they have a low attention span when it's in terms of getting started with productivity methods and techniques, or for people who like to take a lot of breaks because they want to check their phone and things are always buzzing and they just got a tweet and someone sent them an Instagram message, So this is a really great technique, I think, to use, a good beginner method. It's not going to work for everybody, but if that sounds like you and this sounds like something that you may want to test out, I highly recommend it. The Pomodoro technique. Definitely give it a try for your productivity. So how to execute successfully, I've got a few tips for that. Number one is to start with a simple, well-researched action plan. Having that really good plan of action where you've listed out all the tasks that you need to do, especially when it comes to your goals and those projects that you're going to be working on, that is going to make it so much easier for you to execute because you're not wasting time on tasks that don't matter. There's nothing more, that is more of a productivity buzzkill than when you find that you've done a bunch of work and then it was absolutely useless. It didn't actually help you achieve your goal. So if you start with a simple, well-researched plan, you will go a long way to feeling more in control of your execution and the actions that you're taking. Number two, experiment with different productive time management techniques to find a style that works for you. I just gave you 2 really great examples that I love to use, the Pomodoro technique and batching your work, but there are many other techniques, some of them of which I talk about here on my channel. So I highly recommend looking through my videos and seeing what else you can learn about productivity and different techniques that may help you work smarter, not harder, and save you time so that you're able to devote whatever time that you have saved to executing on your projects. And step number 3 is to start taking action to build confidence and positive momentum. Because once you get started, it's sometimes hard to stop. Now, I know this is kind of sounds a little funny to think that like once you get started working, you're going to want to keep going, going, going. But the truth of the matter is that once you develop this productive habit of executing, getting to work, it really builds a sense of confidence inside of yourself. And when you sit down to do your work and you see that you're being effective and you're being efficient, you actually kind of, start getting that whole rolling stone gathers no moss feeling, and it really makes you feel like you're unstoppable. So once you get everything organized and you've got your plan and you have maybe a productivity technique that you want to try out and you're ready to get to work, get focused and get going. There is no substitution for good old-fashioned hard work. So keep that in mind if you are someone who struggles with executing. Reason number 4 why you may have some trouble achieving your goals is that you have some bad habits. So it's very important when we talk about achieving our goals and things that we have not done before in our life that we learn to control the habits that are holding us back. Because everyone has a certain number of bad habits, but if you have too many that's affecting your productivity and keeping you from executing, you need to think about making a change, right? They say that you are what you repeatedly do. So if you're not making progress on your goals now, this pattern will only continue until you make a change. So understanding your habits begins with first recognizing what they are, so that if you want to become a more successful person who is able to reach their goals, first pay attention to the things that you do every day and try to understand why you got into the habit of taking certain actions. I often find from working with different students and talking to different people within my community that they really don't understand where their bad habits came from, but they find it so hard to stop. And I think that the first way that we get control of our habits is to first acknowledge what they are and to kind of take accountability for the fact of what we're doing. And even if we don't have a good reason for it, trying to understand that habit and trying to understand how we can control it is going to give us much more power over it. So what do we do about our bad habits? Well, we're going to have to swap them out, right? So when it comes to understanding our habits so that we can change them, it's good to know not only the bad habit itself, but also the cue for that habit. Now, the cue is the situation that triggers you to do that bad habit. And when you understand what the cue for your bad habit is, you can then swap your bad habit for something better when you experience the cue. A really typical example of this would be for someone who maybe in the afternoon at work gets hungry and then goes and buys a bag of chips and a soda from the vending machines. And then they're like, oh, heck, I just ate bad food and I ruined my diet for today. Well, the cue in that situation was that it became a certain time of day and your tummy started to rumble, right? So that cued you, it triggered you to get up and get some food. So if that is a situation that you find yourself in, that is the cue that you want to look towards so that you can then choose a new habit to swap out for. So just make sure that the new habit that you're swapping out for makes sense as a replacement for your bad habit and for the cue that triggers it, or else you'll have a hard time establishing a new habit for the long run. So a good example of this, talking in terms of that, mid-afternoon snack attack, is if you have that happen that your tummy's starting to rumble and you want to go get a snack, right? The thing to remember here is that most likely when your tummy rumbles and you get hungry, the new habit should not be going for a walk. It probably shouldn't be getting some water or going to the bathroom. It probably does need to be something that is going to satisfy your hunger, but you just don't want it to be chips and a soda. So this might be a situation where you're going to swap out going to the vending machine for bringing in a snack that's healthy from home, like fruit or something low calorie, like nuts or some low fat cheeses, something like that. So the point here is that understanding your cue is important because you don't want to swap a habit out for something that's not going to satisfy that trigger one way or another, right? So like just understanding that you're hungry and then saying, I'm going to push it out of my mind and just keep working probably won't work. It might work for a period of time where you have a lot of motivation and self-control, but eventually you're probably just going to get even hungrier and then run and get 2 bags of chips instead of 1. So understanding your cue is very important, and then swapping out for a habit that is actually more healthy for you, but also in the same vein that satisfies the cue is going to be very important. So here are 3 steps for breaking bad habits. Number 1, first identify what habits are causing trouble in your life, right? So if you're someone who is a perpetual dieter and you know that you've got that snack attack problem, then maybe that's the habit that you might want to get in control of, right? So first step is always identifying what the problem is. Step number 2 is to recognize how each bad habit is triggered, aka finding that cue, right? So once we know the cue, we know how we can swap it out or what we should be swapping it out for that will have a better result. And then of course, number 3, finding that more positive habit to replace the bad habit with once it's been triggered and start doing the good one instead, right? So remember, it takes about 21 days for a new habit to form. So you may need to remind yourself to perform the new habit for a period of time before it becomes natural to you or second nature. So you may need to set an alarm in the morning to remind yourself to pack a snack that's healthy. And this is going to be something where you might need to leave the snack out, after lunch so that you see it, so that at, 2 or 3 o'clock when you get hungry, you see the snack, remember you brought the good snack, and then don't feel the need to go to the vending machine, right? So this is going to be something where you're going to have to exhibit some self-control for a period of time in order to make that swap from the bad habit to the good habit, but it will pay off eventually once you get into the habit of choosing the new thing that's better for you over the bad thing. Reason number 5 why many people fail to achieve their goals is that they lack motivation, okay? So if getting motivated is your problem, remember that so often we fall into the trap of not doing the task and activities that we know we should be doing, right? So a lot of times when it comes to actually executing, motivation is just about making sure that we actually do the things that we know we should be doing, because we know when we're making a mistake. We know when we go to that vending machine and buy the snack that it's actually a mistake, but we choose it anyway because we're feeling unmotivated. We are lacking in that inspiration to keep us focused on our goal. So we spend all this time goal setting and planning, but at the end of the day, we fail to do what needs to be done. But why? Well, like I said, we lack motivation and inspiration to keep us focused on our goal. That's why, okay? It's very important that we stay focused on our goal. So what's motivation good for? Motivation is important because it's that spark of inspiration that shows us how our lives could be. In order to make positive change, you must have an example for what the solution looks like and how to get there, and that's exactly what motivation does. The problem with motivation, however, is that it never seems to be around when you need it most. In those moments when you are about to cheat on your diet or when you hit the snooze button instead of waking up early, we completely forget about all motivation and inspiration. So, 3 steps to finding consistent motivation. Number 1, understand what motivates you to begin with. I think that if we know what the real reason is why we are going after a goal, and we're very clear on that for ourselves, and we understand why we are motivated to make this change in our life, it sometimes makes it harder for you to ignore it, right? So even though you might go to the vending machine and cheat on your diet, and maybe you will hit the snooze button one morning, at least acknowledging why you are moving towards a goal and why it's so important to you. I think that kind of keeps you accountable on some level so that eventually, after a few days of hitting the snooze button, maybe you decide one day, you know what, I'm sick of this. I really want to make a change. I really need to stop, right? So it's not about being perfect right out of the gate with any of this by any means. A lot of these productivity and goal setting and really success and achievement-based concepts really have to do with making small progress that will add up over time. So step number 2 to finding consistent motivation. I love stockpiling different sources of motivation to look towards, and I like to leave it everywhere. So I'll have motivational quotes all over my office. I keep inspirational images on my phone. I like to save messages and emails from customers and people in my community that really make me feel motivated, because when I'm feeling down or when I'm feeling like I don't want to do the work, when I pick up my phone and I see that piece of information or that quote or that picture, it really does motivate me to snap me back into focus towards what my goals are and what I'm really working towards. And step number 3 here, before making a bad choice, I think it's really important to consult some of your motivational inspiration and reconsider. Like I said, when we make a bad choice, I think sometimes it's out of habit, like we didn't even think about what we were doing and we went back to the bad way of doing things. But many times we know, and you know, that you are making a bad choice in that moment. So I think that if you can negotiate with yourself enough to say, okay, let me stop for 1 second before I make this bad choice and look at a piece of motivation that I have very handy, right? You have it handy. It's on your phone. It's on your computer. It's on your desk. It's in your wallet. It's wherever you need it to be. If you take that moment to look at the motivation and then say, okay, do I still want to make this choice? Yeah, you might still make the bad choice. Like I said, this is all like a slow and steady progress. But I think that eventually, again, you may choose, once you've been reminded of what your larger goal is, to make the better choice. And I think that taking that step of negotiating with yourself and saying, let me just check in with myself before I go through with making this bad decision that I know is a bad decision. I think if you can stop yourself for that one moment before you actually do the bad thing and look at your motivation and remind yourself what you're working towards, that you will most likely, at least after a while, start making those bad choices less, right? So again, it's not about being perfect 100% of the time. It's about making progress and keeping ourselves focused on what our goals are so that we don't lose sight of them, so we don't forget about them, so we don't, negotiate with ourselves that we don't have anything that we're working towards, that we can just do whatever we want, right? So if we forget that, if we lose focus, that's really when we really truly fall off the bandwagon. And I think it's completely fine if we have slip-ups now and then, but take that moment before you make that conscious choice that you know is bad and look at your motivation and make sure you've got the motivation readily available so it's very easy for you to make that little concession with yourself. Okay, reason number 6 why people find it hard to achieve their goals is that you aren't focused on personal growth. Now, the key to personal growth. So you want to change your life by achieving some of your goals. Well, that's going to require you to do some personal growth. It's not just your actions that affect your results, but also your mind and your skills as well. So often we set goals that we know require certain skill sets to attain, but somehow we're surprised when we fail to learn what is necessary to make our goal happen. Well, not anymore. Personal growth is the key to personal satisfaction. Let's be real here. Most of us spend the first 2 or more decades of our life chained to a system that is all about personal growth. Of course, I mean the school system. We grow up with expectations of productivity, learning about the world, testing our knowledge, and sticking to a very specific set of projects and goals that have been designed for us to feel the satisfaction of achievement. And then one day we graduate, hit the real world, and then it's all up to us. I don't know about you, but once I hit the real world and adulthood, I struggled hard to find satisfaction and meaning with my life. I spent 22 years mastering a system with clear-cut expectations and achievement loops, and then one day it was all gone. Ultimately, I realized that I had to take my own development and education into my hands and continue the cycle of learning and growing because staying stagnant was not just boring, it was soul-crushing. So I became both teacher and student, choosing personal development topics that helped me to learn skills I was never taught in school, which gave me a richer experience of the world and a greater understanding of my place in it. So I really am someone who believes that personal growth, continuing your education, really leads you to a sense of personal satisfaction that most of us lose once we graduate from high school or college and get into the real world where there's no longer these very easy expectation and achievement loops that are really just served to us on a platter to make us feel good about ourselves when we are students. So if personal growth is something that you struggle with, here are 3 steps to prioritizing it. Number 1, identify an area of your inner self, mind, skills, emotions, spirit, etc., that could use improvement. I think we all know at least one area of ourselves inside that we would like to work on, so pick an area that's most important to you. And number 2, find a hobby that fulfills this area of yourself to turn into a habit. So that might be reading, meditating, it might be doing some sort of physical activity, like I said, learning a new skill, taking a class, etc. But find a hobby that fills this, that you can do habitually to get that sense of satisfaction and personal growth. And number 3, make this habit a priority and on at least a weekly basis and begin to feel the satisfaction that comes from personal advancement on your own terms. Okay, so last but certainly not least, reason number 7 why people have a hard time achieving their goals is that they have no accountability. So in terms of keeping accountable, making changes in your life is a difficult enough task to do on your own, but it can be helpful if you have others around you to keep you accountable to them. We all start off with the best of intentions and a well-made plan, but slowly we allow other priorities to overshadow our own. Having someone to stay accountable to is very helpful for keeping us on track to complete our goals. Got accountability? Why accountability matters. Because no one makes a change without a very good reason or external force holding them to it. That's just the truth. It's difficult to do things alone, but when you have the support of others, the burden seems shared. And humans are social creatures that prioritize the thoughts and opinions of others above their own. So when we have someone else to be accountable to, it makes it much easier for us to feel like we can surmount any issues we have when it comes to completing our tasks, executing, and staying on track to achieve our goals. So if you're having issues with accountability, here are 3 steps to helping you achieve it. Number 1 is to set a personal goal or reward for yourself. Number 2 is to track your actions and success regularly. And number 3 is to find an external accountability partner to check in with, because having someone to check in with regularly, especially someone who might be on the same or a similar path as you, or someone who has been where you are trying to tread, I think that can be very helpful to keeping you focused and on track to completing your goals and finding success with them in the new year. So what do you think? Did any of these common issues sound familiar to your situation? I bet at least one or probably more of them did. So I want to ask you, now that we are done the bulk of the class for today, what brought you to this video? Why did you decide to click on this video today? Maybe you were curious to know how to achieve your goals for the new year and what you needed to watch out for. I think that's a very smart reason why you should have checked on this video today, because knowing is certainly half the battle. And I hope that these tips gave you clarity on how to achieve your goals for the year, and of course, the common pitfalls that you need to watch out for and how to overcome them. Now, maybe you're overwhelmed by the amount of goals that you want to achieve and need clarity on how to bring them all to fruition, right? So understanding the process of goal setting and productivity can go a long way to helping you find success with multiple areas of your life. If you're someone who, like me, has a lot of things going on in their day-to-day between their life, their business, personal, social, all that jazz. If you're someone who is trying to balance it all and still try to find a way for you to find success in many different areas of your life, then that's a very good reason why you would want to continue looking for information and learn as much as you can about the topic of goal setting and achieving success with your goals. Or perhaps you know that you're not achieving your potential in life and starting to feel down on yourself or behind when others seem to have so much together in their lives. Like they say, comparison is the thief of joy, right? We all kind of have moments where we look out and we see what other people are doing, but if we don't feel like we're making progress ourselves, it can be really disheartening. I think that becoming a student of productivity is an excellent way for you to flex your productivity muscle so that you are working smarter, not harder, and making real progress on your goals for your life. So I would just like to say that if this is a situation that you're in, I would be more than willing to help guide you through this process to keep you accountable and on track for a successful year ahead. Which is why I am formally inviting you to the next live session of my Productivity and Planning Mastermind. What is the Productivity and Planning Mastermind, you ask? It is a 90-day online accountability group and 6-module video lecture course. It is a unique group and solo productivity coaching experience intended to help you complete important goals and tasks for the year while going in depth with my personal productivity philosophy. What you will learn in the mastermind. Module number 1 is goal setting for success, where you will identify your goals and convert them into actionable projects so you are working towards what matters to you. In module number 2, functional planning processes, you're going to learn my streamlined method for planning accurately and with time to spare. Module number 3 is productive execution techniques. That is all about understanding your work style and which productivity techniques will help you work smarter, not harder. Module number 5, Mastering Habits and Routines, is all about overcoming bad habits and replacing them with routines for a successful life. Module number 5, Inspiration Through Interference, is where you will learn how to overcome setbacks and push through daily issues and interference through inspired action. And finally, module number 6, the Personal Growth Mindset, is where you will continue your personal growth and skill set building for a long-lasting positive change to your quality of life. So, what makes this mastermind special? Number 1, it's not just a prepackaged course. It's an interactive experience where you can learn alongside a wonderful group of like-minded students of productivity. It's not just another Facebook group to manage. With weekly activities, live discussions, and inspiration, this group is truly geared towards accountability. And it's a live mastermind with me. I'll be giving you personal feedback and helping you one-to-one to overcome your productivity issues. So what do you get when you sign up for the Productivity and Planning Mastermind? A 6-module video lecture course with workbooks to help you apply the lessons of the course to your specific situation. You get a Facebook community filled with students of productivity working with you to learn and remain accountable to your goals. You get weekly prompts, discussions, and additional resources and support from yours truly. You have lifetime membership to the Facebook group and the ability to engage in future live sessions. Now, in terms of this mastermind, we have this Facebook group and all of this content that you are able to engage in as often as you want, as much as you want. And I plan on hosting a live session of this mastermind at least twice a year. So I'm going to be doing it obviously coming up now in Q1, and I'm going to choose another quarter, probably Q3 or Q4 later on in next year to do it again live. So I don't plan on hosting every quarter of the year, but you will have more than one live session per year. And when you sign up for the mastermind, once you join, you are welcome to join for any future sessions for no additional cost. So once you're in, you are in for life, and you're able to join the live sessions of the mastermind when I'm actually engaging and answering questions regularly and on a schedule, like any other sort of live class that you might go to online or at some sort of institution. So that's the way that the mastermind and the Facebook group are going to be managed moving forward. So the 2 mastermind options, because there are more than one option for you when you go to sign up for this experience. Option number 1 gives you group coaching. So you get the 6 video modules, the private Facebook group, you get all the printable course materials, activities and workbooks, the weekly activities, unlimited Q&A with me. And then option number 2 gives you private coaching. So you get everything listed out on option number 1 plus 3 one-on-one calls with me. And the way this works is that you get one 60-minute call per month for adjustments and accountability with me. And you want to keep in mind that because this is a one-to-one coaching experience where things need to be scheduled out, I keep limited spots available for this option, but it is available for any of you who feel like you want that one-on-one time with me to address any specific concerns and issues and really get my feedback and more in-depth one-to-one help on your productivity situation. So what is the investment for this mastermind? Similar 90-day accountability programs cost $2,000 or more for group coaching only. And what you get for that is normally access to a figurehead that dials in for calls, and your questions are answered by a staff with canned responses that they give to everyone. Private coaching and accountability calls can cost hundreds of dollars for a 60 to 90-minute session. Definitely a situation where, depending on what you are doing and what you are trying to achieve, it is very costly to get private one-on-one coaching, but the Productivity and Planning Mastermind is structured to be an affordable alternative. So for option number 1, where you get that group coaching with the 6 video modules, the private Facebook group, the course materials, activities, Q&A, etc., the price for that option is $297. And then if you go with option number 2, the private coaching option, and you get everything in option 1 plus the 3 one-on-one calls with me, one-hour call a month for the 90-day period of time that the live session is going on, that is $597. But of course, I have a fast action bonus for any of you within my community who are really ready and raring to get started with this opportunity and want to jump on as soon as possible. So for 48 hours, I'm going to give you guys a coupon code to take $100 off either of the options. So the coupon code is PPMMDEC17, which is on the screen right now, and I'll also have it down below in the description box. And keep in mind that this coupon expires on the 19th at midnight Eastern, so 11:59 p.m. on the 19th, midnight technically on the 20th. So this coupon will have an expiration date. It is good for about the next 48 hours after this video goes live, and it will give you $100 off either of the options. So that group coaching option goes from $297 to $197 with the coupon code, and the private coaching goes from $597 to $497. Again, just for the next 48 hours after this video goes live. Now, of course, there is one more thing. I am going to be hosting a live New Year goal setting video workshop coming up in the Mastermind Facebook group on Wednesday, December 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So you will get access to this workshop as a free bonus when you sign up during the open enrollment period before our next session begins in Q1. And you can actually join me live for that workshop if you sign up and join the Facebook group before the event begins. So you can sign up now and take advantage of that $100 off coupon code and get a free bonus class to prepare you for the new year and the 90-day program. And if you are willing and able to join us live for that event on Wednesday, I am excited to be able to see you in that workshop live. So who is this mastermind for? Because I'd like to be very clear on who this course is for so you know if it's right for you. It is not just for business owners. This is really for anyone who has goals and projects that they want to make sure that they complete by the end of the year, or they really want to jumpstart Q1, the new year, off on a very positive foot. This is for you, no matter what your situation is. If you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, someone who works a full-time job and a side hustle, or if you're a stay-at-home mom or even a retiree, whatever your situation is, this is for you if you're someone who really wants the accountability to follow through their goals and learn more in depth with me how to execute productively on routines, habits, and planning for your own life. Now, I also would like to add the caveat that you must be motivated to learn and engage, because your participation will dictate how much value you get from this experience. With like many things in life, you get out of it what you put into it, and I really want to make sure I have motivated individuals in this group so that we have some lively discussions and really productive chats to really work through some very common issues that all of us are struggling with, and we get the best ideas and inspiration from each other. So I really want to make sure that you are someone who is ready to get involved and to really help others, because that is really the type of person who's going to do so well inside of the group and inside of the mastermind. So let's hear from some of my current mastermind students and what they thought of the last live session that is now coming to a close. First, we've got Leota M. from Athol, Massachusetts, who chose the group coaching option. Leota is a full-time cook and entrepreneur who signed up for the mastermind because she was interested in the content of the course modules and activities designed to help apply the lessons to her specific situation. What she thinks. Defining how I work and learning about how to use productivity techniques has really fired me up. I remember hearing about some of these techniques before, but I was not clear on how to use them. Alexis explains these methods thoroughly, and once I started using them, I saw progress right away. Alexis is a really fantastic teacher. She can zero in on a problem you have and point you in the right direction. She's patient, she teaches with clarity and passion, she gives examples and then lets the work speak for itself. What she achieved. The biggest thing for me was learning how to set my priorities. As soon as I was clear on what they were, I could see myself making progress and better decisions. I accomplished what I need to take care of on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, and my planning skills are expanding. I am more focused and able to clear up tasks and projects on a timely basis. And finally, what she learned. I feel like I've been given a roadmap. Some of these methods and techniques were not foreign to me, but I did not use them consistently and in sequence. Once I got the basics down, I felt like a door had opened for me. I know I still have a lot to learn, and that is one of the exciting things for me. I have already made so much progress in these few short weeks, so I know that with more time, effort, and knowledge, I will get so much more accomplished. The sky is the limit. The sky certainly is the limit for Leota and for everyone else who is inside of the mastermind as we move forward into our next session in Q1. My next feedback here is from LL from Iowa, who chose the private coaching option. Elle works full-time in the publishing industry and signed up for the mastermind because she was interested in working directly with me on her productivity issues. What she thinks. Before joining the mastermind, I was familiar with certain productivity methods and working styles, which I had learned from watching Alexis's videos as well as from my past work mentor. I also knew a little bit about how breaking down goals into smaller pieces helps. But the mastermind helped provide even more information and insight forming and achieving goals. I learned that I wasn't breaking my goals down far enough and that they should be SMART goals. Being specific is key. What she achieved. I struggle with staying motivated, but the mastermind helped me maintain more motivation than usual and kickstart my productivity because of the accountability factor from the group. Working on the mastermind activities made it easier for me to switch from the activity to working on something on my to-do list. This accountability factor also helped center my determination to achieve my goals. I was able to clearly identify what my priorities were at the time, formulate goals for those priorities, and list out projects and action steps to complete those goals. What she learned. My biggest takeaway from the mastermind that helped me move forward with my projects and goals in the future includes learning the science behind everything offered in the mastermind: priorities, goals, projects, habits, routines, productivity. The modules were chock full of information, including definitions, practical examples applicable to reality, the how, the why, and so on. The activities Alexis provides throughout the mastermind provides you with the opportunity to apply what you've learned to your own situation. Learning the science behind it all is a life lesson that I'll be able to carry with me and utilize to help achieve my goals and improve my productivity from here on out. So another wonderful review of the class from another excellent student of mine who is also making some wonderful headway with her goals and really had a lot of big breakthrough moments in the class. So I'm so happy for Elle, and I'm so thankful that she was able to participate and had such a wonderful experience in the last session. And last but certainly not least, we have Mimi E from USA, who also took the group coaching option. Mimi is a stay-at-home mom who signed up for the mastermind because she was interested in working directly with me on her productivity issues. What she thinks. I knew how to set up goals, but the demands of my day-to-day life kept circumventing my best intentions. As a result of the mastermind, I was able to reach my goal. What she achieved. I was able to finally reorganize my home. With Alexis's guidance, I was able to put a workable plan in place and get my family on board. And what she learned. I reached my goal when I not only held myself accountable, but was willing to hold others accountable as well. And just something that I want to add to this is that Mimi completed her home organization project in less than 90 days after joining the mastermind, despite spending the previous 10 months trying and failing to get her home in order. So I know that from speaking to Mimi that she feels like sometimes that this goal that she had as a stay-at-home mom was not necessarily the loftiest of goals. But for her, it was something that she really wanted to accomplish as a stay-at-home mom whose number one priority is the comfort and security of her family. And she was able to get herself organized, stay clear on her priorities, and focused on her goals and actually execute on the entire project early. So I know she's thrilled about that. I'm absolutely thrilled about her, how much she's able to achieve and her accomplishment in the last live session. So I'm very thankful to her as well. And she's just a wonderful example of the fact that you don't need to be someone who has the biggest goals in life to get much out of this group. So I really would say that if you're someone who has been struggling for a while to get something important to you done, either for yourself or for your family, based on what your priorities are, that definitely think about joining this mastermind, because it's not always all about having big, gigantic goals. Sometimes, as I told Mimi, you know, the most difficult things for us to achieve are those little things in life that really have the biggest impact on our comfort and security at home. So I congratulate Mimi on her success and thank her so much for being willing to share her story. So, are you ready to get started with the Productivity and Planning Mastermind? Click the link down below in the description box for the mastermind option that you would like to sign up for. You will be redirected to my shop where you can add the option to your cart and use that code PPMMDEC17 at checkout, and you'll check out via PayPal. You do not need a PayPal account to check out. You can enter a credit or debit card via PayPal without having to create an account. PayPal is just the secure method that I use to process payments. So you will get a download with instructions for joining the Facebook group immediately upon checkout. Remember, if you get into the group by the 20th, you can join the workshop live. If not, if you just join during the enrollment period before the end of the year's out and the new session begins in Q1, then you will still get the replay of that workshop for free as another bonus. Weekly activities will start week 1 of the new quarter and will run for 12 consecutive weeks. So it's about a 12 to 13 week course, 90 days from January to March for this next session. And then probably after consulting with the group, we will figure out whether or not we want to do a second section of the live class in either Q3 or Q4 to help round out the year. You can choose to follow the course outline, or you can work at your own pace. And remember, you get lifetime access, so you won't run out of time to access the course and materials. You will always have access to them, whether or not we're doing a live session or not. So that's something very important to keep in mind. Now, I am so happy to welcome you all and really invite you all to join the mastermind today. When you do, you are signing up for only $197 with that coupon code PPMMDEC17. And when you sign up during this open enrollment period before the year end, you get access to that bonus New Year goal setting video workshop as a free bonus to you. Remember that that coupon expires 12/19/17 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in order to join the workshop live, you just want to make sure you're purchasing before the 20th at 7 p.m. so I can get you into the group in time so you can join live. But if not, you're absolutely welcome to watch that replay of that workshop for the goal setting. So thank you guys so much for your time today. I really sincerely hope that this class, that this lecture video was able to give you some really good insight in how you are going to be able to achieve your goals in 2018. If you have any questions about the mastermind or about anything that I presented in today's video, feel free to leave me a comment down below, or feel free to send me a private email if you are not comfortable discussing these things in public. I completely understand, and you're more than welcome to send me an email at any time. Make sure you check the description box for links to all of the things I mentioned, plus links to where you can purchase the mastermind. And of course, keep in mind that coupon code that'll get you $100 off either option of the mastermind for the next 48 hours after this video goes live. So thank you so much for joining me. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos by me. And until next time, bye-bye.